Hello, everyone. Welcome to Financeology 101. Class is now in session. The information provided during this podcast is just that, information. You will need to do further research to address your specific situation. Enjoy the session.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Elroy Seegers, and this is Gifted Generations Financeology 101 podcast, coming from you live, or by the time you hear it, it's going to be on replay. I want you to take the time out to listen to some of our other podcasts that we also have on Podbean, at our website, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and Spotify. This week's session is going to be on income and expenses. So when you hear about income and expenses, you're thinking, oh, okay, yeah, I know what that is. There's this thing called the golden rule. And the golden rule of finances is do not spend more than you make. And that is pretty simple. But you'd be amazed at how many people spend more than they make. We got some material here that we actually offer a seminar or a 6-week plan that Gifted Generations offering, Robin and myself, or we can do an hour speech. We can come out to church, home, whatever, to work with you on your income. But this 6-week plan that we have, we're going to be talking about this week 4th session is identifying income and expenses, knowing what they are, and setting realistic goals to realistic goals. What is income? It's pretty simple. Money that you get coming in your house. It's going to be very generic. What is expensive? Money costing you to have money going out your house. That's expenses. Anything that you got to pay for, anything that goes from your hand to somebody else's hand, from your account to somebody else's account, that is expenses. Anytime it's coming from their account to yours, that's increasing your revenue, your money, that is income. It's not that difficult. But even deeper to talk about income and expenses, there's something else that I also wanted to address when it comes to income and expenses. It's really the expense of your mentality that you have when it comes to your finances. That's a true expense, that mental expense, that can you get on board with this plan to be able to accept where you want to go? And that costs you more than anything else. It ain't about the money all the time. That's the bottom line. It is really your approach to the money. That's the expense. That's the income that's going to cost you a whole lot more. How are you approaching? How are you looking at how you work your money and not letting your money work you? They got all kinds of rules out here as far as money and expense. I was looking at a few things online here. They have the 50-30-20 rule. Let me see here. They have the 80-20 rule. It's just so many rules that they have. But basically what they're trying to tell you, you want to put your money somewhere. Expenses is part of it. Savings is part of it. And then the other part is needs. Let's go ahead and look at the 50-30-20 rule, what it's talking about. That one is talking about your money as far as how much of your paycheck should go towards things that you need. And the other thing is 30% of things that of your wants and 20% towards saving. That's just one simple rule. But you notice in all these rules, you got to spend a portion of your money towards the needs, a portion of your money towards your bills, and a little bit towards your wants. But a lot of people that I deal with, their want is sometimes a greater want than you want to pay for bills. It's a lot larger. Just want to get on that one. A lot larger. And you want to avoid that. When I'm working with people, when it comes to income and expenses, one of the things I always do is I try to talk to them first. Because that mental expense can cost you more than your money in your pocket. If you can't wrap your head or your mind around that, it's going to be a struggle for you. So typically what I do is I just sit down and talk to a person or a family. They figure out what their end goals are. Because you got to think about it ain't all about the income and expenses. What about retirement? What about legacy building? What about when you go off when you finish a job after doing 20, 30 years? What are your expenses going to look like then? Can you afford to live in retirement? Or do you got the rest of your life towards other retirement? That's what I mean by that mental expense. That's going to cost you more than your current income and your current expenses. What are you doing to move towards that? If you're just sitting there and you just going through your daily walk and you're making ends meet, that's great. But what about the future? What are you looking as far as down the line for your kids, even for now? A lot of people, they missed that mark. So when I'm sitting down, I'm talking to a person, I get a chance, try to get to know them, to understand their income habits and expense habits. And a lot of people don't even understand all their income habits. You know, you can get some money from your birthday. That's income. You know, when people tell me or they say, I got some free money today. When I hear that statement, you know what comes to mind? That's telling me they're going to take that money, they're going to go out and blow it. Anytime you get some money, you need to assign it to something when it comes to income and expenses. Nothing's free. It comes at a cost. Like for me and my wife, whenever we get a raise, we try to live on the exact same level we've been living on and take that raise and apply it to something different. It is income, but we're going to take that and we're going to assign it to something else. We're not going to spend that money on something else that's unnecessarily. We try to live a comfortable life. But so many times I'm sitting down talking to people, that is the biggest issue that they typically have, is wrapping their heads around expenses. How do I approach it? The income, a lot of times, is way more than expenses. But would you believe they spend more on unnecessary things because they don't take that money and assign it to something? That is a struggle I see all the time. And just as you think you get them on the right path, months gone by, they take a step back. And I kind of expect that. And I give them room for growth. So what I always try to tell people, yeah, I can put you on the budget, but you don't want to be so strict on yourself that you can't live freely. So that's first 30 days is that I'm asking the right questions. I'm asking them, texting them daily, talking to them, sending them emails, asking them how the day is going, what you spending your money on. What I always try to do with people when it comes to expenses is try to understand their mentality around what they're doing. I ask questions. Okay, so you bought that. And I also tell them to make a journal. So I ask them, hey, how do you feel when you purchased that? Okay, great. How do you feel when you pay for that bill? How does it feel when you got that raise? When you journal those things, you look back on those things, you can actually see yourself. How does it make you feel? So as I talk to people, talking about expenses, you probably say, man, you're talking a lot about expenses. Well, you got to make money in order to spend it, right? I'm always focusing on that mindset. A lot of the people that I talk to, they make more than enough money to cover their bills, but then they don't understand why they don't have anything in savings. It's because their habits gets in the way of a lot of things. But once you sit down and you figure out what their habits are, and sometimes it may take 30 to 45 days, and you get to understand their nature of how they go out and live, then you start mapping a plan out for them. I don't restrain or restrict anything. I get to learn. And then we put a plan in place. And I say to them, here's your income. Here's your expenses. Here's your spending habits. And when they see it on paper, it's an eye-opening experience. Because now they're saying to themselves, oh, wow, I didn't know I did all that. Yeah, you did. Okay, that's new to me. Because you do it so automatically, you just on automatic. You don't realize a lot of times how you spending things, going to the gas station, you're getting stuff out of the high-end gas station, convenience store, going to the different food markets 4 and 5, 6 times a week, and you're having a lot of money for that, but yet it's taking money out. That's an expense.
So let's put the expenses in categories.
All kinds of categories.
There are fixed expenses, something that you
Mortgage,
do every single month.
mortgage, electricity, even your gas, food.
There's variable expenses that changes from time to time. Like
Gas, food, phone bill,
right, if you don't have your utilities on
FPP,
a plan
EPP,
where you pay
EPP.
equal payment plan, your utilities can fluctuate month to month, so they can be considered variable. And then you have seasonal expenses you only pay a certain time of year. Property and
car taxes,
car insurance, property taxes, whatever. So you have to consider all your expenses when you're figuring out your financial plan. You need to sit down and write every last one of them down. And what Elroy is saying, it takes probably 30 to 60 days to get all written down because
Happens every time.
there's stuff that you forget about.
Happens every time.
We get calls all the time. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, I forgot about my pet grooming. Oh, I forgot about this.
Dog food.
Dog food. It's just stuff that you don't even think about. And that just tells you how you mindlessly
Spend money.
in your car and spending your money because there's expenses you don't even think about that you have.
Yep.
So when you this is the third step in the financial journey because we already went over financial assessment. We already went over realistic goals.
Right.
So you can go back and listen to those. They're out there on Podbean.
Yep.
But this is the third step. You have to identify all your sources of income.
Right.
Then you turn around and identify all your sources of expenses. And it's going to take a while for you to get that. And so you can start this.
You'll be amazed at that. Don't want to get the client's name out, but I had one client and been working with for a few months, and we was doing the cash envelope. And this is what I mean by me and Robin getting to know the client and understanding their habits. First month, we went through the ups and downs, getting everything documented. Okay, I wouldn't say surprises because the first month you're trying to learn things. Okay, you got this. Okay, we forgot this. Let's add this too. So we got to the first month, and I said, okay, we're going to go ahead and do the cash envelope system. Had money for grooming, food, restaurant, self-pay, shopping, boom. Went through those envelopes. Now, that's supposed to last the whole month because they get paid once a month. Went through that envelope less than 8 days. And it wasn't a small amount for all that stuff. So I'm thinking, what are you going to do the rest of the month? Struggle. So then I said, I need to figure something out. I said, because you don't know how to, allot yourself amount, or take a little bit out those envelopes and apply it to certain things. So I was like, that was like learning the client. So what we come up with is this right here. We've taken those envelopes and added the amount together. And now we're going to divide it by 4. So now, let's just say it was $400 total. So now we're going to give this person $100 per week, where they put $100 in 4 different envelopes, and the other 3 are set aside. So they basically have $100 to spend on all those things that was in separate accounts, separate envelopes, but in one account. So they have that all in one envelope now. And I think that's a better technique because they're able to say, oh, okay, I got $100 left off of, or $90 left off of, or $70 left off of, versus just saying, I'm going to nickel and dime to these envelopes until they're all gone well before the end of the month, because that's a hefty price to pay. I'm saying this because what we do, we try to learn the person before we actually set things aside to say you can do X, Y, and Z. Because what we don't want to do is put you on a plan that you feel like it's holding you down.
Yeah.
We got to make sure that it's going to be some tough times, right? But it's also going to be something that you can accomplish through small steps. That's that short-term goal. And my short-term goal with users and with people is to have them to feel comfortable in the environment and plan that we have working for them. You're going to always tweak it from month to month. It's hard to get a plan, a budget, and things are going to be for 12 straight months. Really, you look at your budget every month to see the adjustments you got to make. It ain't like, boom, there it is. Because what's going to happen next month, you got car taxes. What's going to happen next week when the gas goes up? You're going to adjust that. Groceries goes up. Light bill goes up. You got to make adjustments on the fly. So you can't be so hard setting those things, but you also got to have that buffer building. Like, you know what? I can cover these extra expenses as things go up, because I know our grocery bill has almost doubled. You know,
Yeah.
we can normally, let's say we buy 50 items. Let's say it was $100. Those same 50 items are now $160.
Definitely.
So that same and it's smaller in the packages. You ain't getting the exact same amount. It's smaller. So that's an expenditure that you got to accept and make modifications as you move forward. That's that variable that she was talking about. That's unavoidable. You gotta eat. Gotta pay light bill. Now the house is a little bit colder. Turn the heat off left and right. You're gonna freeze at night.
Lights off.
Yes, it. You gonna get a light, get a flashlight, get a candle.
But you have to really, really, really want this.
Yeah.
Because we see people that say they want it,
Yeah.
but they're not willing to make the adjustments
Yeah. All the time.
to achieve that goal.
All the time.
And they expect the plan to work the way based off of their habits.
And without work.
Right.
Without any work.
So I guess they think it's going to magically appear. I'm not sure, but they're not willing to. They want to change,
Right.
but they're not wanting to do the work.
That's that mindset. That's that mindset.
Yeah, and it's easier to keep doing what you're doing, and then because you're comfortable in that area of doing what you're doing with your money, and then worrying about it later.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm always gonna say, it's really about accepting where you want to go. If you, I look at credit cards, and I always tell people, would you rather pay yourself or pay somebody else to get rich? That's what you're doing. If to me, it's like I understand how we use credit cards, so that I'm not saying that you shouldn't use them. I'm just saying when it's small amounts, you know, you can take that $50 and put it into an account on the side. So when you want to go and get those shoes or that dress or the hat or whatever, you go in that account and pull it out. But we don't save for rainy day. We say, oh, I'm putting a credit card. I put in a credit card every single month. Well, you paying somebody else for their success. Why not pay yourself success? Why not save a little bit at a time? Why not set some goals at the beginning of the year? Just sit down and say, even now, and say, you know what? In the next 4 months, I want to save $1,000. Divide that by 4. And you save that amount. You set goals. You might have to tweak it. You might not hit the $1,000, but you may get $850. That's an accomplishment. I was texting my client today, and the client said, "I've never been so happy for payday to come." They always look at payday as like, "Here we go again. I don't got no money left over. Got to pay all these bills." Now they're looking for the payday because we got to go. We're paying off bills. Each month we paying off something. Now we got more money coming in to turn back on something else. They're looking for the payday now. Well, before it was like, I'm like, you actually traded payday? She's like, yes. I was like, wow. It never dawned on me. I'm like, yeah, I look forward to payday because I got money coming in. Yeah, I got my money assignment to other things, my expenses. That's fine. That's expenses. But I didn't realize it was like I'm working to give somebody else my money. Now they feel like I'm working to have more in my pocket. And each month I'm beginning to see growth. I begin to see things being removed, and they begin to release themselves from any debt each and every month. So there's still debt, but the debt is less every single month. And we doing things. You know, this person's planning trips, doing all kinds of things, and small business pieces. What I love is this part right here. And I say no, they're like, nope, can't do that. Okay, I understand. Call me before you do it. Accountability partner. Oh, okay. But I always say, what made you want to do that? It's okay. Then I also say, if you buy that or if you do this here, here's the impact of that decision. So if you buy this here, or if you purchase that, or if you go here, if you do that, here's the impact of your finances on that decision. What do you think you should do? So do I say no? No, I give them advice to, here's the input to this. Because a lot of times people don't process their situation. I'm helping them to process the situation by saying, it's $50. You owe this bill over here. It's $20. If you do X, Y, and Z, it's $50. Will you be sure on that? Yes or no? Can you carry that money? Can you pay for that bill? Is that a need or a want? Those are the things that I try to talk to them about. Do I say no? No. I help them to understand their financial situation. That's what I do.
Now, the funny thing about this is that I just heard, I don't know what I was looking at, but this star, I wouldn't say they're a big star, movie star or a TV star, but they are a star. I've seen them in things. said his wife ran up a credit card, say like $15,000. And he's like, oh, no, we can't do that. You need to pay that off. You got 12 months to pay that off, right? So she, say that, I'm just going to throw out a number. Say the monthly bill was $75. Well, she was paying $90 and think she was doing something.
Right.
So at the end of the year, he come back and like, oh, yeah, I can use this card for something because he thinking she paid it off.
Right, she didn't.
He looked on the balance; it was still $14,800 and some dollars, and he was like, "What?" She's like, "I paid more than the minimum balance." And she like, "Why ain't go down?" And he was like, "No, that's not how it works.
You gotta pay extra.
You gotta pay a lot more for this to be gone."
Yep.
She could not understand this. Now they have money. But he was trying to teach her, you can't be running up this bill and just paying off the minimum balance and think it's going to go away.
Yep.
So that just tells you that people's mindset with money, I don't care how rich you are, if you don't have the right mindset dealing with money, you'll always be in that hole.
Right.
Because you don't know what to do with it.
Right.
You don't know how to manage it and not let it manage you.
Yep.
And I was shocked, and he was like, okay, I gotta show her how to do this because we'll never get this paid off. Now I'm quite sure they have the money to pay it off in one check.
But sometimes it's a good lesson.
Show her.
It's a good lesson.
He was trying to show her.
It's a good lesson.
It was hilarious.
So if you have a $2,000 credit card and you pay the minimum balance, it would take you 12 years to pay it off. Thus, the earnings on that card that's going to somebody else is $3,200. See, that's money you're giving away. That's what I'm saying. If you can avoid to buy something and pay it off, then do that every month. Do that. Don't let them collect money on you. It was just a penny.
Mm-hmm. That's just like someone we know that's near and dear to our heart bought a car and was paying on it for like 2-3 years. And when they went to get to sell it, and they heard the resale, how much they still owed.
It was shocked.
They're like, wait a minute, I've been paying 3 years on this car. They don't even look like it moved.
Nope.
And it was like, we had to explain because you weren't paying on the principal.
Yep.
Most of that was going to the interest.
Yep.
And they were like, what? I was like, yes.
Try to pay mine off early as possible.
Yeah, it's going to the interest, not the principal. So they were so disappointed because they were so proud of themselves.
Look, they worse than the payday loan people. Do you realize if somebody give you something, you want to give them something back with interest?
Oh, yeah.
They're sharks. In my opinion, think about it.
Loan sharks.
Yeah, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you get a credit card, you got to pay them back with interest. It ain't free. It's costing you. Oh, yeah, $20 a month. I can afford $20 a month. But yeah, your car got $1,000 on it.
Banks are legal loan sharks. That's why
I like
we
that.
collapsed today. Because
Two.
It was two. Because they grew too big too fast.
Interest rates tore them up.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know about that.
So on this journey, like we said, we did financial assessment. You got to get your mind right. You got to see where you are mentally when it comes to money. Then you set goals that's realistic to you.
Yep.
Don't make them all grandiose and then you can't achieve them and then you quit.
Yep.
And now we're at the point where you identify what money you got coming in, what money you need to go out.
Yep.
But once you start doing these steps that we're telling you, it'll help you at least get a grasp on your finances.
Yeah, but and that's something that we take pride in. It's something I think we do extremely well. We work with the people, not against them. We don't just set some goals and send you off and say, "There you go, here's your package. See you in 2 months. Let me know how you did." No, we actually walk them through the process and talk to them and help them out and help them to understand the situation and why they made this decision, why this cost come up, and sometimes talk them off a ledge. That's what we do, and I think we do an extremely great job at it. As far as working with people and in the situation. I love the fact that they do come to us. I love the fact that we talk with them, not to them, not at them, and they listen. And I think that's the biggest thing. Sometimes the struggle is having somebody to talk to you about your money. That's why we never tell people what to do with their money. We advise them what to do with it. When you tell somebody what to do, then that's really your plan. You advise them by coming up with a plan moving forward. So when you map it out, it's something that they agree to and they can do. Versus me saying, "Hey, I need you to follow this plan. This money," that's not going to work.
No.
You want to need to understand. Hey, so one of my clients says, "I need a little bit more money for grooming." How much for grooming? $150. Okay, no problem. We're gonna do that, right? You got to understand. Women and men are totally different now. Men get the pedicures and manicures and haircut done also now too. So I understand that, but you got to understand the things they do routinely. You can't just cut out grooming. That's there. You can't cut out. Just eating out. You still want to be able to eat out, because trust me, if you don't have that little eating out thing or movie thing, when you don't do it for a long time, you feel like you're missing out. And then there's a big splurge of spending money. A lot of money just going on. I just had to do something. I felt so pent up. So if you just feed that little habit, I'm going to call it a habit, because it's going to cause you not to go off the edge. And I always tell people, "Oh no, it's good to go out to eat. No, it's good to go to the movies. No, it's good to do those little things, but do it within the constraints, the confines of the plan."
Right. Because you may not
The
be able
plan.
to go every.
Right.
You used to go out every Friday. Maybe you cut it back to every other Friday.
Yeah. So I was telling you about the person we was having, like, let's say $100 in the envelope system. I said, "Hey, it's going to be $100 this month, but next month we're going to make it 85." I said, because if you want to put more money into shopping and self-pay and less on the budget, the longer it's going to take for you to be that debt free. Mm-hmm. And I always say, we can get more in your pocket once we get rid of some of these bills. Mm-hmm. Unless you want to continue to live a great life, it's okay. This debt freeness is going to take you a little bit longer. Hey, so let's say instead of 24 months, it's going to take us 48 months because you didn't want to trim down some of the fat to go into paying off things. But as they see, man, this is working. Oh, okay, this is a good plan. You know what? Let me just do a little bit less and put more on this bill. Boom, let's take that money and pay for it before they change their mind.
It is contagious.
Yes.
Once that ball start rolling, it is contagious.
Yeah.
And you like, okay, let's do some more. Where can I cut back?
Yep.
Where can I cut back?
It is. It really is. Well, that's about it for this session today. This is about income. I know we talked about income and expenses. We talked a lot about expenses because, believe it or not, that's what causes the most stress. Sometimes income causes stress when you don't have any coming in. So that will cause stress too. But we really did focus on expenses. In that golden rule, the golden rule is do not spend more than you make, period. At any point in time. If you do, you have broken the golden rule.
Okay, so quick rule. Or go back and listen to financial assessment if you want to get started from step one. Then after that, look for realistic goals.
Right.
That's out there on Podbean. And then this is income and expenses. And the next one we'll do is telling the difference between needs and wants. That's another one that get us, y'all.
So I need some pair of shoes. If I got a hole in an old one, don't I need a new one?
Well,
or is it that I can add one more to my 200 I got now in the closet?
And that's about how many? 200 pairs of shoes. He's got it bad, y'all. And that's
I don't have that 200. Maybe like 20.
No.
All right, y'all. So y'all can find us, of course, on our podcast is actually on Podbean right now. And also we have it on our website too, under giftedgenerations-llc.com/podcast. So you can also find us on Facebook at Gifted Gen LLC, Instagram at gift.gen. You can do YouTube at Gifted Generations LLC. And also, of course, like I said, Podbean, just Financeology 101. And we also can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Anything else, honey? Did I miss?
Nope, you got them all.
Okay, well, you got them all. I'm just enjoying the ride. So I do want to thank my lovely wife, Robin Siggers, for joining me today on this conversation. She is the IT, she's the photographer, she's the admin, she's the HR, she's all that and above. I just show up and just talk. And like Pastor Chapman said, using your gift is in your hands. Mine is me just talking. That's my gift is in my hand. So we're about to sign off. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Continue to support us. And as we said, we got lots more to talk about and lots more to do. We're hoping to have a big announcement pretty soon. It's something that me and Robin have been working on for a couple of years. Ran through some problems, and then we back at getting everything deployed. And we actually going to talk about that experience because we want you to avoid that pitfall that we got trapped in. Unavoidable, but hey, things happen. We just push forward. We're pushing forward today. So we want to thank you for joining in on this podcast today. Right now, this is Robin Nero. We are signing off.
Well, thank you for tuning in to our podcast, Financeology 101. I hope you enjoyed this session and the information provided will assist you on your financial journey. Until next time, be financially engaged.